There is a SaaS CMO that I want you to picture. 12 months into an SEO campaign now. Traffic is up. The monthly SEO report looks fine. The agency is delivering the number of blogs it promised. They're hitting their link targets too. But demos from organic search are flat. Pipeline attribution from search is basically zero. And nobody on the team can explain why. And that's because by every metric they're currently tracking, nothing's going wrong. Everything's fine. But that doesn't tell the whole story. The problem is with this company is they're only optimizing for one layer, but there's 3 layers that they should be. And it is the other 2 layers that deliver the pipeline that actually matters. And this is what the 2026 playbook for SaaS SEO actually looks like. Most agencies are still optimizing for the old playbook, a playbook that worked in 2022, in 2024. But times have changed. The approach of write more content, build more links, build our domain rating, by itself is not sustainable anymore. This is because buyer search has fundamentally changed. The way people look for information is different. AI has massively changed how buyers discover products. And now the gap between traffic and pipeline is wider than it ever has been in the past. The teams that are winning right now are building 3 different layers of search simultaneously. I'm going to walk you through all 3 in this video and show you proof from real clients that we've been working with. But more importantly than that, I'll give you questions to ask yourself that will help you come away from this video with an actionable plan on what you can change and how you can implement the advice. Most teams that I audit are doing layer 1. Very few are doing layer 2. And layer 2 is now the difference between showing up in Google and being in front of your buyers before they make a purchase decision. I'll get to that, but the foundation has to come first. The most common gap that I see on each audit isn't that teams aren't building links. It's not that they aren't accumulating some level of authority. The problem is, it's where they're sending these links. Blog posts are easier to point links to. Editors accept the placements more readily. The content team can produce blogs at a faster pace. So that's where virtually all of a company's links go. And that is a problem. Blog links and links to your blogs are easy targets because they're a rich source of information, and therefore it's much easier to secure that link. But doing what is easy isn't always the correct move. And I'm not saying by any means you shouldn't build any links to your blog posts. In fact, blog posts are a great way to accumulate domain authority. They're a good source of information, but it is the commercial pages and the pages that are further down the funnel, in the bottom of the funnel, where the real buying intent happens. Fundamentally, it's coming down to this. You want to put relevant links towards pages that are relevant and pages that you want to rank for commercial keywords. I recently ran an audit on the channel where we did a breakdown of different companies in the time tracking software space. And a couple of examples of the different keywords that I spoke of in that video were these 2. You can write a blog post and potentially get a significant amount of traffic, although much less now with how we're moving towards 0 click, but it's not going to be converting basically ever. And that's why advertisers are not willing to pay for this sort of ranking for this keyword search. However, when you search time tracking software, advertisers are often willing to pay up to $58 a click, which is really significant and really shows why you'd want to rank for this keyword if you are in this niche. If your link building budget is flowing towards pages like the blog on how many workdays in a year, you're doing it all wrong. Typically for most SaaS sites we see, they're getting about 60 to 80% of their links to the blog pages. Authority is one of the only ways that LLMs and Google can distinguish between the quality of different sites. And that's why link building and brand mentions are still so important in 2026. And my prediction is they will continue to be so in the next decade. But as we've discussed, where you send them links and where you're accumulating this traffic is what makes the biggest difference. So I'm just going to quickly touch on 3 different companies that we've helped. One company, a HR SaaS, that we've helped increase their traffic by over 200%. A ton of that traffic has come down to ranking for more commercially important keywords. Not literally all, but virtually all of our link building efforts have been towards money pages. We've focused very heavily on anchors, and we've moved rankings significantly and many important keywords for this HR company to positions 1. This is why they have continued to invest in our services for over 2.5 years. Layer 1 is the foundation. If your commercial queries don't have any authority behind them, then ranking for buying intent queries is going to be virtually impossible. But here's the part that a lot of teams aren't realizing or are starting to only realize now. You can have perfect commercial page authority in Google and have sustainable rankings in Google, but you can still be invisible in LLMs, which is where a lot of buyers are searching. So optimizing for this channel is super important. Let me show you something that illustrates it far better than any explanation could. Toggle and Clockify, both time tracking SaaS companies. Clockify has 6 times more ranked keywords than Toggle in Google search, but it's Toggle who win basically every important AI search query in this category. For example, search best time tracking software in ChatGPT. It's Toggle who comes up first. Search it in Perplexity, it was the same outcome. And that gap is not about the Google rankings, but something else entirely. I want to introduce you to the theory of share of model and share of voice, and how this is working in AI search. Share of model, share of voice, or AI citation rate is what we can describe to understand how frequently your brand appears in sets of queries that are relevant to your business. You should be tracking these on different levels, but most importantly, you should be looking at bottom of the funnel and middle of the funnel queries, especially if you come up in alternatives for bigger competitors in your niche, comparisons, and how you are semantically framed by the LLMs, because this is really important and this is something you can influence. So the second concept I want to explain in this video, and I really believe this is worth 30 seconds, a minute of your time, is semantics and semantic positioning. This is really important because it's getting people out of the old mindset of keywords and ranking for keywords. Language models don't store keywords, they understand meaning and association. Let me put it in a live example. When your brand gets mentioned in a listicle about the best time tracking software for agencies, and your brand is spoke about alongside the category leaders and the more established companies in your space, something important happens. Your brand is moving semantically closer to these topics on the map. Do it consistently across enough sources and be consistent semantically with how you want to be positioned, and the models start to understand who you are. They can build this category association. The model is learning that your brand belongs in this territory, and for this reason, it's why I call it semantic brand positioning. You're not optimizing just for a keyword at once. Fan out queries have shown why that's not important. You are positioning your brand next to the right concepts over and over again, and it's that consistency that's going to pay off. The model starts to understand your world. The more you're sitting and appearing next to different competitors with different descriptions about your product, with different features that are all semantically similar to the competitor, the more it starts to understand who you are and where you fit into the category. What are your unique advantages and disadvantages? And that's why relevancy of mentions and backlinks matters so much, because you're reinforcing this semantic positioning. In my opinion, one backlink and one brand mention in a really relevant article is going to be appearing in 10 big roundup articles every day of the week. There's one more layer to this all, and it's the layer that will tell you whether layer 1 and level 2 are actually working together or not. Here's the honest caveat I need to get into before we go into layer 3. I am not saying that every SaaS team needs to have all 3 of these layers working excellently in conjunction with each other from day one. It depends a lot on what stage of your business you're at, whether you already have existing large rankings, if you have the budget to be investing significantly in this or not. But if you're now 12 months or 2 years into an SEO campaign and you only have one of these layers, then you are actively leaving potential pipeline on the table. Layer 3 is not just a tactic, it's a signal, and it tells you whether the whole system is functioning. Branded search is a great health check for any brand. If layers 1 and 2 are working, then branded search should be increasing. If people are discovering you more via organic search channels, whether that be in Google or via the LLMs, there should be some sort of kickback in the amount of people who are searching for your brand. That means people who are reading your content, finding you in AI answers, seeing you mentioned in a Reddit thread. These people might not directly click through to your website, but they might remember who you are and they might come back later. Branded search isn't just about passing traffic through, but branded search is often highly qualified. These are people who know your brand, they associate you with the industry, and they trust you. Maybe they're not looking to buy something, maybe they are just looking for information. However, it's a good signal to recognize that your organic work is paying off. This is something you can easily track because it's simply one filter on Google Search Console. Just go into the performance report, filter for the branded queries, and just look over the last few months. Ideally, this should be growing month on month, year on year, and you should be seeing more people getting to know your brand, associating you with you, and branded search is also a good indicator of your success. If the branded search is remaining very flat, perhaps that traffic is more just coming through the same groups of people who are remembering who you are. Branded organic search is something that can't be artificially inflated. In SEO, unfortunately, there's a lot of metrics that can be. Even like recently, we've seen a new client site that we audited with a ton of traffic. At first we thought, oh, that's cool, they've got way more traffic than we were expecting. However, we found a lot of this traffic was direct traffic from bots, from a proxy farm. Also, you can inflate the DR number, you can buy fake backlinks, you can buy backlinks that are doing more harm harm and good. You can do all these automated spammy things. However, this isn't sustainable and it's not what anyone should be doing. You cannot make thousands of real people search your brand name into Google. And I think this is one number you should be watching over time to see increases in associations with your brand. So this level of branded search has two levels to it. So the first layer, the amount of people who are researching your name into Google, they're coming across your website. And the second, people who are finding you unprompted, maybe when they're just seeing brand recommendations come up in ChatGPT, and then they're looking to search your brand up like this. It can be a sign that both are working. So this is the 2026 playbook. This hasn't just been a list of tactics, but an intricate 3-layer system where each layer has built on the previous one. Layer 1 puts authority behind the pages, which allows them to rank for buying intent searches. Layer 2 is what makes you actually appear where buyers are making the decisions. And layer 3 is a good indicator of telling you that it's all working well. Most teams are just running layer 1 and are not understanding why their organic traffic isn't converting. The ones that are closing the gap right now are the ones treating search as a full funnel system. Search everywhere optimization. They are not treating search like a content calendar of blog posts with a backlink quota attached to it. If your SEO report is showing SEO traffic going up, but pipeline staying flat, then you have a problem. And you probably already know which layer is missing. Hey, if this was useful, please subscribe. This is what I cover at least every week. Content for SaaS teams, marketing teams. If you want to go deeper into layer 2 specifically, you're going to see the video that I published a couple of weeks ago popping up on the screen. Hey, and if you want us to run your website through this 3-layer system, simply look to book the diagnostic call in the description of the video. Just provide us a bit of information about your website. We'll do some of the research. We'll come to the call prepared with a potential growth plan that you can implement. It's no obligation to work with us after that, but I think you'll find it highly useful, and at the very least, you're going to walk away with something useful. So yeah, thanks again for watching the video and see you in the next one. Cheers.